This is a story about how I ended up getting burned and lost my leg. Spent 50 some days in the burn unit ICU. Ended up leaving as a below the knee amputee. And then having some more complications. And 8 months later, happened to become an above the knee amputee. Okay. So a lot of you possibly have heard the story about how on December 20th, 2022, unfortunately, I was a drug addict, and I got so intoxicated on illicit fentanyl that I laid there for hours, and a kerosene heater fell on my leg and burned it so bad that they ended up not being able to save it. All right, this happened on December 20th, 2022. I got taken to UNC in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, and put in the burn unit ICU. They began doing surgeries to try to save the leg initially. I ended up going through a total of 6 surgeries. Well, on the 5th surgery, I believe it was, right after it, all of a sudden I started getting extreme fevers. They can't figure out where they're coming from. I'm getting temperatures 102, 103 regularly, just over and over and over again. They're pumping me full of antibiotics, IV antibiotics, and they can't figure out what's going on because the IV antibiotics will get the fever to go down. As soon as the regimen of antibiotics is over with, the fever will come back. This is just a continual cycle. I remember I had a young Asian doctor came in, and I could see he was shaking. He was actually shaking when he comes to speak to me. That kind of makes you nervous out gate. And he asked me, had my entire family came to see me. I was kind of set back by that comment. I said, my mom and my cousin have. Why? He said, well, you might want to get your whole family to come see you. Why? I said, son, I'll be honest with you. I don't think you're going to make it out of that bed. Oh, shit. I'll never forget, I called my dad. I said, Pops, can you come see me? He said, of course I'll come see you. Boy, what are you talking about? I said, well, the way I understand it, you need to come see me from you. What do you mean come see me from me? Come see you from me. I said, well, they don't think I'm going to survive to get out of this bed. So that, of course, he came. My mom came. My sister came. My brother was in prison at the time. They brought the laptop and had set up for a video visit for me and my brother to be able to see each other one last time. And a few days later, the same doctor came in, the same one that had told me that he didn't think I was going to make it out of bed. And he says, anybody thought about your PICC line? Right here in my bicep, right here, there was what's called a PICC line, which is a line that goes through an artery there and goes into your heart to give, when somebody has to get a lot of IVs, they'll give them a PICC line. It's a faster, safer way for somebody to be distributed the medication. So what are you talking about my PICC line? And he said, well, I mean, we've tried everything else. They take the PICC line out, no more temperatures. It all goes away. Literally overnight, it was done. Well, they told me that apparently there had been bacteria on the tip of the PICC line. So they actually gave me a bacterial infection in my heart. That's one question. I don't know how malpractice stuff and all that works, but can somebody tell me, is that malpractice? I mean, I'm not the type of person that likes to sue somebody for anything, but they did almost kill me. I mean, honestly, I almost feel like I should. The second incident that happened that I'm questioning about, I was discharged from the hospital on February the 8th, 2023, and I left as a below the knee amputee. I'm a service connected veteran because 20 years ago in the Army, I fell from a pretty high distance up in a training accident and blew both my knees out. Well, so I partially tore my ACL and my MCL in both knees at one time. So when they amputated my left leg below the knee, my leg literally curled up like that. If you look back at any of my old videos, you can see where I had the prosthetic that I was wearing. It was like the shape of an L at the top. That was the shape that my leg was locked at. It was called a bent knee syndrome prosthesis that I had to wear. So this was February the 8th when I get discharged from the hospital as a below the knee amputee. And then around the 1st of May, I had a bump come up on the end of my stump. It winds up growing to be over a 1/4 inch, like sticking out over a 1/4 of an inch. And what happened was, finally it burst. And when it burst, you could see something white there. I was like, what the world is that? I know that's not my bone. I know that's not my bone. Well, after about a day or two, it was sticking out even more. Of course, I go to the hospital, and they tell me that, see, there's 2 bones that run from your knee to your ankle, your fibula and your tibula. They tell me that apparently when they had amputated it, it wasn't cut off smooth, and it had literally cut me from the inside out, finally bursting through my skin. So they like put a patch over it. We talked about different options, shaving the bone and this and that. Well, I started getting bone infections. I went through like 4 rounds of bone infections. Finally, in August, they said we're going to have to cut it off. They gave the option of either slicing the end of the stump.
About 10 miles, turn right onto Sunrise Road.
Slicing the end of the stump open, removing that bone that was sticking out and taking a nerve out that was in there also, and then sewing it back up, or either amputating some off of the stump or going above the knee. And I told them that out of them, I wanted to go above the knee because I wanted to be done. I did not want to have to risk having another surgery, because either one of the other 2 options came with the likelihood that we could have to have another surgery, and I just wanted to be done with it. Because like I said, I was a drug addict. I've been clean since I got burned. Other than, yes, sure, I did get some medication while I was in the hospital that first run, but I've been clean ever since. I have not done anything. I have not stuck a needle in my arm since December 20th, 2022. That's the God's honest truth. So here's the mentality with it. I couldn't circle back. I could not risk going backwards. So that's why if there's a video on here, the story of how I told my doctor that I refused pain medication for my surgery that I had on October the 10th, 2023, of an above the knee amputation. They ended up making me sign a waiver. It was an entire thing with that. But you know what? It was accomplished. It was accomplished. That's the main thing to me is knowing that I'm stronger than a substance. Because, see, when I got out of the hospital February the 8th, 2023, I went to the methadone clinic the very next day. Went to the methadone clinic for 2 months. Detoxed myself that way. So I knew, of course, I could have done the same thing after my October 10th surgery, but it was more than that to it. More than anything, I wanted to do it as a personal challenge to myself to say if I could survive having an above the knee amputation done without narcotics, that there is not a damn thing life could ever throw at me to make me question my sobriety again. And guess what? I made it. So my question to y'all is malpractice. How does this work? Was that malpractice? Or was it just an accident? Because, I mean, yes, I agree it was just an accident. But that both of those were accidents by the same group of doctors. And I've been told by someone that that's what doctors have malpractice insurance for. It's not like I'm suing them for them making their mistake. I'm suing them for negligence in their job. And that's what the insurance is for. So I shouldn't feel bad about it because that's what the insurance is there for. Can somebody, y'all, give me some advice here? Should I or can I sue them for putting the bacterial infection in my heart? And should I and can I sue them for not cutting that bone off smooth to where it ended up making it ruined an entire year of my life, and then in the end made me ended up having to lose another part of my body because of their mistake? To me, I mean, those sound certainly like issues of a malpractice or a negligence or whatever wording you want to use. Either way, they screwed up. Can y'all give me some advice on what I should do with this? Much love, y'all. God bless.